in today's show, Power Surge, and I am so excited because, every once in a while, serendipity happens. I got a messenger message from someone saying, "Hey, there's this great lady who does all of this wonderful empowerment and coaching, and I mean, all these wonderful things. Do you want to talk to her and find out more about what she does?" And I'm like, "Oh, absolutely." And I got on the phone with her and I fell in love. And so she is now a dear friend of mine. And we met again, it was serendipitous. Boy, say that word twice. And I am so excited to have her as a guest on the show today. Jace, bring on in Ilona Selke. You are
You are
phenomenal.
awesome.
Swims with the dolphins. And I mean, you are a best-selling author and all kinds of wonderful things. And I want you to tell us your story, but before you do, I want to tell everybody something exciting. Is that okay?
Go for it. I'm excited.
Exciting news. Beginning at the end of this month, Ilona and I are going to be doing a 6-week course. A 6-week course, and we'll tell you more about it as we go. But I just want you to know you definitely want to attend this 6-week course because it's one Ilona put together and she's introduced me to, and I've been going through it. And oh my goodness, I am so excited. And the fact that she's allowing me to do this with her just thrills me beyond belief. And so I want you to be sure and join us, and we'll put in the chat the link to get in and register below. But that being said, Ilona, hello.
Good. Well, thank you very much, Karen. First of all, Dr. K, I read your book and I was impressed. We all need solutions of how to deal with our emotions. All of us. I mean, I bet you every single one of us sitting here right now listening had something that we had to solve. Mm-hmm. Whether it was an emotional thing or something that didn't quite work or a challenge. The good news is, and I say this to people, if we choose our challenges voluntarily, we don't get to run into the wall with our nose to deal with challenges, because life, this earth, I say, is a schoolhouse. We are here to grow as souls. And if we do it voluntarily, and all of us probably do one thing, we love problem solving. Our brain, our human brain, loves to focus on things that aren't working in order to make them work. But what most of us forget is to how to shift from focusing on what isn't working to how to make it work. So my TEDx talk that I gave is called 2 Questions to Help You Create a Brighter Future. And what I loved in your book is you gave very clear instructions on how to deal with negative emotions and how to even address them. That, want it or not, all of us are actually humans. We are emotional creatures. Yeah. We try to, especially in the West, we try to put up a wall. In Asia, they do too. I live right now, you see me in Bali. That's why you have that,
Isn't that background. Beautiful?
One of the things you may want to know, I have a retreat center here in Bali. My husband and I built it in 2008, 2009. So it's been a while, over 15 years. And we started, my husband, 40 years now. I met him when I was 23. That dates me. Yes. And so we, from the beginning and get-go, realized 2 things. That in order to create something, we needed to focus on it. And he taught me. I came to him and I said, my today problem is, like, maybe you might have it. Some of us do. I had a woman I talked with just 2 days ago, and she's like, I'm with this man, but I realized after 4 years that really I want to be understood. I don't want to constantly convince the other person that how I am and who I am is right. So I was coming to my now husband and I said, yada, 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 da. And I had gotten married already. I'd moved to America and was studying philosophy. And I was 21 and a half when I met him. And I said, he just doesn't want to meditate with me. And he gives me all these spiritual books, but that's it. It's like he drops me off at the doorstep and then says, it's not for me. And he doesn't this and he doesn't that. And he said, stop it, girl. That's the number one trick I can tell all of you. It is the first technique that we teach in Living from Vision in the 5-week course.
Yeah.
We teach 6 weeks, is to stop ourselves in the middle of complaining. And I said, all
Right.
of us probably had a problem in the last 24 hours.
Well,
Something we want to solve, right? If I ask
right.
you. So I'm going
Well,
to give you a technique right now of what you can do. And you don't even, I mean, this is a freebie that you can do anytime that you encounter something. So it's like we stop the wheel, the movie, and we step out. We go like, wait a second. I'm not the actor on the screen. I'm the one watching. Okay, let me watch myself. Let me watch everybody. Let me watch what's going on. So when I learned this early on, when I was 21, he gave me the second question, which is what in my TEDx talk, I call the 2 questions, right? So looking at what is, and then asking myself, what do I really want?
right.
And then that's the stop, that's the looking, and then comes the choosing. So stop, look, choose is a technique we bring right away to get started, because all of us need a quick fix of how to get out of a problem. And if we do that, let's all do it together. Let's pick something that didn't quite work well today. Let's remember the scenario. I'm practical. I love feeling things. It's the only thing I remember. So let's just think. Go ahead. Go. Let's do it. Not writing anything. No, I'm not. I don't want you to write this. I
Oh,
give you the book.
oh, I want to put the what was it? Stop, look, feel.
Choose. All right. Yes. Stop, look, choose, feel. But
Choose.
let's just think of something that is not quite working. All right. You have something?
Yes.
A moment that happened in the last 24 hours. Make it easy. All right. Okay, then you become aware of how you're feeling about the situation. You step out and notice yourself. And then you say, okay, what do I really want? What do I really want? Instead of the current situation, I would really like. And whatever that deeply is, allow yourself to feel your own inner truth, the first answer you get. It doesn't have to be practical, it doesn't have to be good. It's just really what you want. And now I'd like you to allow yourself the luxury for a moment of delving into the feeling sensation. And whether this is the ideal relationship, and so this is what I did when my husband told me, that now husband, right? He told me, imagine every day for 5 minutes how you would feel like if you already had that brilliant relationship. And don't think of how to get there or what it might take, but just pretend it already happened and you were already doing it, regardless of whether it's realistic or not. And this is the moment where, when Jack Canfield interviewed me, he said, what is your message to your younger self? And I said, dream big. The universe is listening. This is where you allow yourself to just go all out. What do you really want? And rest for a moment in that fulfillment and let it flood through all your cells. Allow yourself to bathe in the luxury of fulfillment. Ideally and eventually, what we will learn in Living from Vision is how to create a metaphoric image, because our brain, in large part, although we usually use our left brain, logical brain, uses the imaginary mind and the feeling mind, the metaphoric mind, ties the image, feeling together. But let's just for now remember the feeling, okay? Now I would like, for all those of you who are really interested in making a change, to invite you to do this for the next week, every morning for 5 minutes. Just bathe in that luxurious feeling. You can embellish it. You can walk into your movie of your fulfillment. whatever came into your mind. I mean, it's usually symbolic. Let me say a man, it was a filmmaker in Germany who took the Living from Vision course, and then he decided to become a teacher of it. So the first time he was teaching this course, he said, I'm going to just put it to the test. I want an Audi car, yeah, but a cabriolet with a removable top. And I want a blue one. And I'm imagining driving in there, and he's imagining his hair flowing. And then he says, the real feeling that he actually really wanted was to be free, to fly free like a bird. So having the car turned out not to be the image of the car, but actually a bird flying in a blue sky. So it was a white dove in the blue sky, and he rehearsed that feeling image for 5 weeks with the app. You know, we have a guy at that time, it was cassettes, to tell you the truth. I've been teaching this since 1990, and it's been translated into 6 languages. Even in China, they've been teaching the course, and in Germany and France and in Canada, and Spanish and English, and even in Czechoslovakian. So he is now the German filmmaker sitting there dreaming of his dove every morning. After this, in the 3rd week, he gets a phone call from a lottery place. And they said, we wanted to congratulate you. You got a big prize. And he's like, what is it? You won an Audi cabriolet. And he's like, what color is it? It was red. And he's like, well, I wanted a blue one. Oh, well, he was happy. And he made me come on my travels. We taught a zillion seminars around the world, to Wiesbaden, where he was teaching, to see the car and to be with him. And he made me, you know, it's like this really happened. I've had people who couldn't get pregnant for 10 years sit down with a Living from Vision course and imagine the fulfillment of having and being with a baby. And that's when they got pregnant. I had to come to their house too. It's these people who and for me too, it's not just a to-do list. It's a life change. Right. It's a deep, deep understanding that something greater than ourselves is at work. And that is what I believe we're on earth for, is to see the connection between our consciousness that focuses and creates gravitational spin. That's what Edgar Mitchell, who stood on the same stage with me at the Prophets Conferences, the late astronaut who had Apollo, he went up to the moon. He saved Apollo 13 from the ground. He was the astronaut, the well-known astronaut who started noetic sciences, who had the epiphany in outer space. And he and all the people in noetic sciences are here to study scientifically how the mind influences matter. And they are competing. They even have graphs. I listened to Dr. Roden. He showed graphs where a computer, you know, when they say the observer makes a difference, they said, well, a computer can be made to observe something. Makes diddly do nothing. No blip on the screen, no change whatsoever. A normal person makes a blip. A trained person who's learned how to focus their attention makes a huge blip. So big so that it should actually be registered at, at the L'Oreal Nobel Prize, something like that. I read that's noetic sciences. And Edgar Mitchell was on stage and he was saying when he was in a think tank, he was told to figure out what gravity is. Mm-hmm. I in my past lives and other dimensional existences, I have been a scientist. So for myself, I always say consciousness is gravity. When Edgar Mitchell stood on stage and said they determined that basically consciousness and thought creates gravitational fields is gravity. It's when we conceive of something with intensity, we start creating a spin factor that brings the collapse of the wave function from energy into matter. And you can create miracles. This is not just goal setting. Yes, we can do SMART goal settings, where we set specific, measurable, timed, uh, our SMART goals.
Right.
But in the end, I do agree with that as well. But in the end, what is more important is that we train what is not just between our ears, but what is beyond our skull. It's like a level up. It's a reality in another dimension. And
Yeah.
that's when Edgar Mitchell was saying it, I'm like going, yes, we can point to him because he has a degree. He's an astronaut. He should know. I'm just me. So I am so excited to be teaching this with you,
Right.
to create this spin factor, to create and pull things into matter, just like that filmmaker did with his car, where they called him and said, it just happened. I am very, very deeply passionate about it. I've been teaching it since 1990. Dr. Rod Newton developed it. It wasn't even myself. Dr. Vernon Wolf developed another part that is part of the course, which is dovetails with the work you do, Karen, and
Right.
that is the emotional transformational work. Because no matter how much we can be in that luxury moment, we may have voices that say, yeah, girl, right. We've heard that. And our memory from childhood training goes on. And we have emotions that kick in. I love how you put that driver, I'm driving in the street and then there's a person cutting me off and I go, jerk, and I'm going like, no, I don't want to be judgmental, because next minute I'm the one who's that kind of a forgetful driver and cuts the other person off, right? Compassion goes a long way with ourselves and others. And I love that example in your book. It's like stepping out of our reactive emotional mind and body and taking
Right.
charge of making the choices. And then becoming the director of our life and saying, I want these things. Maybe I only pick 4 choices in different areas that are really important to me, and I'll just choose those. For me, the first one was to go swim with dolphins. And that was in
I got
1990.
to hear
So
about that because your book is phenomenal. By the way, her book is phenomenal. You all want to read it, and I don't want to tell you much about it because I want you to tell us in your own words because it was fabulous. Before we
thank
say
you.
that, though, I want to back up to what you were saying about the brain, and it's something that I've been teaching for a long time, and I want everybody to listen up. It's exactly what she's been saying. That which we focus on expands. So if you focus on that Audi, it's going to expand. And like she said, the universe says, oh, I need to find you an Audi. And the universe responds, but so do you. You do things that create that opportunity because your mind is bound and determined to prove you right. So if you can focus on
Yes.
that feeling, the mind is bound and determined to find a way for you to get that feeling. And so I
Absolutely.
love how you explained it in the scientific terms because amen. That's all I can say is amen.
Amen.
Exactly what you
Amen.
said. And
Yes.
I want to hear about your journey, where you came from and your experience with the dolphins and the leap. Oh, I just love that. And all of the wonderful things that bring you to the point of the beautiful, wonderful person that you are today.
Oh, you're sweet. Well, you know, I was very blessed. I was born to German parents in the Himalayan mountains. And
Oh,
my
wow.
mother, because of the situation, she traveled through India in the 60s. She was not a hippie, with my dad for 90 days, for 3 months. And she learned alternate nostril breathing, the yogic breath,
Right.
that can calm your vagus nerve. If you have to learn one thing today, I want you to do something just while you're listening to me. Just start holding one nostril closed. Breathe in deeply and switch your finger, hold a breath, and then breathe out. And you can do this to a count of 7 or 4, whatever. Breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold, and breathe in. So do this while you're listening. And what will happen is you will self-regulate your vagus nerve, which is more part of your autonomic nervous system and cannot be talked into good behavior, like the blood racing and the thoughts racing and the emotions going off. But if you learn how to calm your breath steadily, breathing in, holding it, and breathing out, you will be able to count yourself to sleep in no time, to be calm, cool, and collected when you need to be, to regulate your nervous system. So my mom taught me when I was 5 years old how to do that. And
Wow.
then she said, now, my dear, look into your third eye, and there's a little light in there. So now I'm a 5-year old, right? I'm going, Mom, it's dark in there. I don't see any light. I promise if you practice a little while longer, you will see the world go up in luminous light. It's because we can switch dimensions. Of course, if I look first, I will see black. And that's a great place to start because your mind needs to calm down. And then what I find powerful, which is why I keep using it, even in my monthly membership classes, once a month we
Hmm.
meet, we go into guided meditations because when my monkey mind goes like still, no quiet, no thoughts, please, no thoughts. And I'm going, when my mom said, focus on a light, that was great. But it was like a little bit much for a 5-year-old. I'm like, there is no light, Mom. I don't see it. In time, I saw it. But along with that training, my mom did autogenic training. She did rejuvenative 20-minute power meditations. So I was brought up with a mom who talked about Plato, Kierkegaard, and all these people when I was like in my youngster shoes and discussed all sorts of greater issues in life. And I was very keen on discovering the real purpose why we were here on earth. So eventually, and I learned, when I was 10 years old, I figured out that honest to God, we create. And I thought I wanted to be with like the woman I dream of, Barbara Eden. I dream of Jeannie, who's like that.
Yes.
And I'm like going, but in my universe, I always get what I don't want. So I, honest to God, thought I'm going to trick the universe. I'm going to think and say, I don't want this. And then I think about it, and then I'm going to get it. So I thought, I don't want a bicycle for Christmas. No bicycle. No, 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 no. And I still remember walking to school and looking at the black asphalt and going, no bicycle, no bicycle. And in the end, what did I get for Christmas? The
A
bicycle.
bicycle.
And so I didn't realize that the universe doesn't hear or know. I took that general understanding that the universe is listening into my life with my mother. My father died when I was 2. He stayed back in the Himalayas in the mountains. They didn't have the doctors back then that they would have needed for him to survive. So he died of appendicitis. Yes, he was the man who said, I want to bring flowers to my wife and make her happy because she volunteered to get the appendicitis taken out. And he volunteered to bring her the roses. There are moments to be smart about life. But anyways, that wasn't his moment. And to be truthful, I trust in the bigger picture. So I was brought up with my grandparents and my mother and my sister. So my mother and my sister delved into discovering the deeper secrets of the universe. And when I was 21, I had my husband then, and met my meditation teacher. And he said, focus on what you really want. And from then on, I learned a technique which I all want to let you know. Additionally to focusing on what you want, if you really want to create a change, and this is something I discovered with the dolphins, the more you rise in your brilliance, in your grandeur of beingness, in the frequency of your essence, the more energy you pump into your image, right?
Right.
So When I was in this, tell this in the TEDx talk. I should give you the link for my TEDx talk below. Um, we are, or yeah, why don't in the link that we're going to I'll put that in there. Yeah, how about that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So the two questions. Remember, I wanted to help you get a brighter future, but
Right.
in my TEDx talk, I talk about how, well, I wanted to swim with dolphins, but instead of dolphins, I got no dolphins. I must have, I'm like going, I want to swim with dolphins. Where are they? And we went to Hawaii and went to Kauai. Oh, no dolphins there. We went to Maui the next vacation. We looked and looked and no dolphins to be found. None that we know of. And there was one moment on a secret beach where we did get to have an encounter. I wrote that in my book, Wisdom of the Dolphins.
Right.
But
right.
the one story that is magical that I also write about in the book, Wisdom of the Dolphins, is when my husband and I are staying at this bed and breakfast. And I'm really frustrated now. 2 times 3 weeks of vacation and no dolphins, nothing to speak of. I'm sitting down on the veranda. I close my eyes. And, to keep my mind busy, I go, let me talk to my inner guide, my angel, and I imagine this blonde-haired, blue-eyed angel.
Mm-hmm.
I have in my mind this, he comes to me like that's the archetype, right? Archangel
Right.
Michael or somebody, So I say, I really need your help. This is the moment we need to work together. I need to be with dolphins. Yeah. Okay, got that. And he said, no worries. Just open your eyes. I'm already here with you. And I'm like, did he say open my eyes? So nobody was looking. I opened my eyes, and right in front of me was a duplicate of this blonde-haired, blue-eyed angel man sitting on the floor. I'm sitting on the couch, and I just about fell off my couch, going, he wasn't kidding. So then I'm like going, hi, what are you doing here? He's waiting patiently for me to open my eyes, that guy, right? He said, oh, I'm your next door neighbor. I wanted to invite you on a dolphin trip on a sailboat tomorrow. Oh my God, my angel wasn't kidding, right? Angel sat, open your eyes, I'm right here. And he's like, this guy's inviting me on a dolphin sailboat journey to find dolphins. And he says, Roberta Goodman, the renowned dolphin researcher who works with Dr. John Lilly, is also there. What a carrot. Off we go. And she is the reason who then, a couple months later, invites us to Florida Key West to swim with dolphins off the dolphin watch boat, the Patty C, a catamaran boat, and we swim in turquoise water and dolphins are all around us. That's when Roberta said, go stand there, be in ecstasy, imagine the dolphins around you and just pump yourself up, open your heart. And that's her way of creating ecstatic presence. I teach people how to go to deeper and deeper levels, closer to the center of the creation, and to go to a place where you are beyond time and space, where you become the center of all that is. And the more you can generate that presence and then hold whatever image and goal you have in your mind, like I did with my husband. I was practicing going into my higher soul states, then imagined being with my fulfilled relationship. And sooner than later that I knew, my meditation teacher became my husband, now of 40 years. 40 years later, he's like, you did well. We did well. We still live that way. And we see each other in this other dimension, soul to soul, that goes into union, into a depth of love at will. We can open-eyed, we don't have to even meditate. We go into these realms. So, but I'm just giving you the breadth. That's where I came from when I was 21. Then, of course, we traveled. We have eventually bought the Dolphin Watch boat. We dreamt up houses all around the world. I mean, there are so many magical stories in all my books that are real. And I make it a point to write only down what really happened, even if it's outrageous, because you know, we influence each other's minds. But
Right.
even if I were to make something up, I delved into the power of backtalk. I don't know if you know about that. The power of our subconscious mind. Actually, when you record it, it usually is a little fast. You have to slow it down. You can hear complete sentences or short sentences backwards, but they always
Wow.
tell the truth. And people talk backwards together. I had a husband and wife team who came to Don and myself for a last ditch counseling session before they wanted to get divorced and separate. And we recorded them. And on the recording, when we played what he said forward, he said, "What do you think the answer is to that question?" Backwards, when we played it backwards, we slowed it down a little bit, and all four of us heard, "Please admit that I did. We had wine. We spent the night." So of course he's like, "Oh well, that was you and me, you know, when we first met." And she said, "No, we didn't have wine and we didn't spend the night together." He was found out on the way home. He came clean because our conscious and subconscious and superconscious works best when we're clean. So one power tip to manifesting your goals is keep a clear conscience. Because if you ask the universe for something, you better feel good about it. If you're dirty, if you're keeping up lies and cheat and steal or lie or do whatever, the universe goes like, "Oh, I think you've got to clean up a little bit before we even know what you're saying. You know, which of the many things you're thinking or saying is true." Huh? Good. Because we are very clever. We put the lid on ourselves if we are not pure. If we're pure, the light can shine. So I'm advocating being a pure being. But anyways, he came clean. And then they had 3 children together and developed their relationship because they could start from a clean basis.
Right.
And I tell you, being our subconscious is truthful. So if you wanted to delve into it, I have YouTube videos with my husband explaining about this phenomenon.
Right.
It was developed by Oates, David Oates. And I found out that my husband speaks German better backwards than in his regular forward speech. So
Wow.
children speak complete sentences before they speak complete sentences forward. They already speak complete sentences backwards. So we are a very complex being. We have abilities. So now I'm discovering all these things. My husband and I are working together. Both of us want to teach. I'm 27. We want to teach the world how consciousness affects matter. So we go on a time travel machine walkabout. And we go through the desert of Arizona and California, the Southwest, and we're looking for this time machine. And we eventually find a radionic machine. It's a very amazing story. We were at a retreat center and we couldn't leave. We always left something. We had to come back, and then we finally said, "Dear universe, tell us by Friday at 1 o'clock. We are leaving otherwise." And 5 till 1, nothing had happened. At 1 o'clock, we step up to the counter and we said, "Here, we're leaving. We'd like you to tell us where a lily tank was, you know, the flotation tank we wanted
Yeah.
to experience." And so when we said that we're leaving and this is it, the guy said, "You need to meet this wizard, Dr. Morgan." And we came to see him, and it was like, oh my God. He said, "Dawn, you have a vertebrae out, a T7, and Ilona, you have a depression and a burnout." And that's what I was dealing with. So within 10 minutes with this instrument, he could read the informational field and send corrective frequencies, which is the work that we have done, my husband and I, since 1987. This is coming on 40 years now, I assume. And no, 45, I don't know, whatever. I mean, we
Yeah.
started in 87.
20, 30 years
So
because you're still in
I
your
think that's
30s.
50. I think that's 50.
Hey, before
Anyhow,
you get going, I want to stop and tell everybody what your YouTube channel is, because they're going to want to go on and do these things. And Jace, write down our YouTube channel so we can put it across the screen. So how do
it's
they
at
get to your
Ilona
YouTube?
Selke. If you just type in YouTube @ and then my name, Ilona Selke, but what together? That's it. You get there.
Okay, so ELONASELKE. So at Ilona Selke.
I think that's my handle. I have two. I have a German one. I have an American one. Actually, if you just go into YouTube, yep, there you are. Put YouTube. Just go into YouTube and say at Ilona Selke. That's great. That should get you there. Jason, maybe you can test it because I know I have one that's also Ilona Selke Leben aus der Vision. But anyways, thank you for asking. So what I'm trying to get across is that whatever I did, we did with the tools that we did. We figured out that the universe is listening. And we really need to practice on a daily basis how to be in the future now.
Right.
We really are the time travelers ourselves. And time space is, I want to say, is God's fabric to discover itself through its own eyes. We are looking out and we're creating the heaven or hell ourselves. We choose whether we are open or whether we close. If we close, if we get despondent, angry, sad, it's not wrong. It's just that's when we need to stop, step out of the movie and go, wait a second. I am the creator. What can I do? What do I really want? And then refocus. Now, in the Living from Vision course, in the second week, we take an additional training in how to transform the negative emotions that we might have that are a little bit more stubborn. Maybe a belief we took on as children watching our parents. Maybe we saw something modeled that was less than attractive.
Right.
And whatever we took on or believed about ourselves, it's lodged, not like really obviously, but you can hear it in every sentence. Oh, that always happened. Whatever you think about yourself, that is a belief and you can change it. So with the technique by Dr. Vernon Wolf, who is a 4-time PhD quantum physicist, he's been my mentor, taught me, and that's what I did for 30 years. I taught the transformational technique to teachers and lay people alike, but doctors, therapists all over the world, of how to dive in, coaches. It's a technique. If you want to learn a powerful technique, come take this course and practice it. It's easy enough to grok. I've done it with children that were 6 years old, that transformed their minds. I think of my niece right now, who at age 9 had a nightmare. And when she didn't want to come out from behind the curtain, I said, so you're feeling really scared? And she said, yeah. And I'm like, where do you feel that? And we typically feel our feelings somewhere in our body. And so she's like, yeah, I feel scared and it's in my chest and in my tummy and I'm hurt, I'm crying. And okay, and then what is it? And then come to find out, she'd had the nightmare that she was supposed to move from her beloved house that she was living in to a skyscraper apartment. And don't ask me how she got that idea, but this is what she dreamt. Our family has that ability, the precognitive part. But so she dreamt that. So now I'm here and I'm not daring to tell her that my sister had told me that they were asked to move out of the house because the owner wanted to move in and they had to find an apartment or a place to live. And Germany is one of those places where it was full. It wasn't easy to find anything. And she had already gone to that apartment to look at it, to rent it, and she was going to put her signature down. When I took my 9-year-old niece through this process, where are you feeling this? What does it really want?
Right.
Oh, it really wanted to live in a beautiful place with a garden outside where her cat could go into. And I said, okay, so how would that feel like if you had that already? And I'm like shaking in my boots going, oh God, right. Oh, I know that my sister is about to sign this lease. And I'm like going, what can I do? I'm just going to walk her through this because I've
Right.
seen the magic again and again. So she comes out with this brilliant feeling of a rainbow, feels happy, comes to the breakfast table, goes to school. A week later, so this took all a little bit of time, my sister got a phone call from the agency that where she was supposed to sign the contract and said, you won't believe this. We just got. Now, just think of the phenomenalness. An apartment that is right on the Rhine River. It had only like basic level, second, and then the third level, not the sky rise. They were in the level where they had a staircase going into the garden, where my niece's window faced into the garden, where her cat could go outside, where she had a 5-minute bicycle drive to the school where she was having to go to next. The husband was a super genius symphony player, and he was working at the opera. So they were, a 2-minute ride from the opera
Right.
on the Rhine River with a private garden to downtown Bonn, which is so cute. I mean, it's like it was a miracle come true, only because she, the little girl, went through her own transformation and affected the field of the entire family to bring about a solution that filled the field for all of them.
Right.
As parents, we oftentimes have to remember, and we do, right? Women tend to want to say, if they've been divorced, they want to have a new boyfriend. And the child is maybe 11 years old. And I'm like going, does a deeper part of you want to, is most people are protective of the children first and then do want a partner. But if they don't get that into balance, their subconscious priority will hold the shackle, so to speak, will hold the lid. So we need to talk to all parts of ourselves and get the priorities harmonized to where we either say, okay, this is more important or that's whatever, till everything fits inside of us and nothing says no. And all is green lights, all green lights are on. Then it can happen. My sister moved with my niece and her partner husband into the place until she graduated from in Germany. It's gymnasium, it's just before they go to, after the 13th year, they go to university, and then she went on to study psychology and has been working with me in Living from Vision, living her life that way. So she works from the inside out.
Right.
And I didn't have to teach her spiritual things. I just taught her how to resource her own power. And if we have clients, coaches, we have children, we have partners, we just help them to go within and ourselves foremost to make the change inside. And the technique that is being taught in the second week, we can use ourselves. I have a whole guided meditation in the app that accompanies the course in the second week. You can listen to it as often as you want. You can give it to your children to listen to. Anybody can do it. You can push stop if you go like, okay, give me a moment, and complete the process to go from, it's an elaborate stop, look, choose, feel process to complete the transformation, because what Dr. Vern Wolf and Penrose and other quantum physicists said, the collapse of the wave function comes through our attention. But when we have our emotions trapped in the negative energy, how do we get to the positive? We have to realize that embedded in all things are two sides of the coin. And when we ask the negative, what do you really want? It goes, I really want. Even bombs want peace in the end. Might as well go to the peace right now. And thank the old image, thank the bombs, that's what you wanted. I appreciate it. Fairness, justice, truth, love, recognition, whatever it is. Oh, I get it. Let's go there and jump time and transform and take the energy from what was negative and say, this is really what you want to become, and absorb it into fulfillment. And let this be the new radio sound station in your consciousness. And then you emanate that into the world, and what comes back is your new sound, your new station, your new news. That's the trick of living from vision. Now, I'm greeting you from Bali because, it's like one thing led to another. We bought the boat. We took people to Hawaii to swim with dolphins, to Florida. We did teach seminars. My husband traveled to China. We went to Taipei. We went to Australia, all over the world to teach together, and have been doing that. We still do that. We go do that. And we've trained teachers to teach the course, to teach the world that we are co-creators and that the universe is listening because it is discovering itself and being creative through its own antennas, which are our eyes and our hands to create. So that's what we are here on earth to do. My own life is an example of doing that. We dreamt up everything, not to say that weren't challenges. I write about them.
Right.
When God told me I was done with Dawn and I needed to move on and have a child with another man, I'm like going, no freaking
No,
way.
no. Yeah.
No. Give me another choice. And in my book, Dolphins, Love and Destiny, I write about the
Right.
challenges and the transformation. And some things take time. But as long as you give it the time and the energy, you will get to the solution, and you will be the creator energy shining out through your eyes into the world, creating
Well,
your own heaven on earth.
one of the things you
Yes.
teach, and I'm putting it in my own words, so forgive me for that, but one of the things that you teach is we run into these challenges, and now we can say, give me another choice, or we can say, oh, it's a challenge and give up. And we want to look for the other choice. And sometimes the other choice is this is the choice. And so we have to listen to our subconscious mind, the backward talk, so to speak. And then we can move forward and have the things that we want and the things that our soul is asking for. And that is really what it's
Yes.
all about, what our soul is asking for. And, I
Yes.
left my first husband after 27 years. And for 27 years, it was just a loveless marriage. And he's a great man. He just wasn't a great husband for me. And quite frankly, I wasn't a great wife for him. And I
Yeah.
left him, and I'm like, I'm done with men. I don't need a guy in my life. I don't want a guy in my life. But I didn't leave him for 27 years because I was afraid of being alone. And I
Right.
got done, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. And it was when I relaxed and I said, universe, what you want me
Right.
to have, you want me to have. And instantly I met Darwin. And, those that know us, we got married the day we met. But we had physically talked for 3 months before then, but, a 3 month courtship, so to speak. And then the day we met, we got married. People are like, oh, but it's been 13 years and 13 years of bliss. And that was something that if you had told me 3 months before
Mm.
that happened that I was going to meet the man of my dreams, the perfect guy for me, he's not perfect, but that's what makes him perfect for me. Um, if you'd have told me that, I'd have gone, ugh, I don't want a guy. But my backward mind was saying, yes, you do want somebody, but you want somebody you can love, and you want somebody that will love you back. And that's what I found. And I told my kids, for the first time in my life, other than the motherly love, I know what it is to love, and I know what
Mm.
it is to feel loved. And that was what I was looking for.
And you mentioned the part that said, I am no longer afraid of being alone, because
Yeah,
sometimes what we manifest is the is the fear of it's what we don't want. And I wasn't
right.
so wrong when I was 10 years old to realize that we get what we don't want. But in our own mind, we don't say, oh, I don't want to be alone. No, but we are afraid of being alone. So it's like some part of us is like stuck. We put up with whatever in order not to be alone. And that's what you
Right.
had done. And the driving belief is like, I dread to be alone, therefore I'll put up with anything. Instead
Right.
of facing it, facing whatever it is that we're afraid of, and then saying, okay, worst case scenario. Huh. But it takes a tremendous amount of courage to face what
Right.
we might be afraid of, and then to get to know what we really want. There are many ways and many different techniques of how to figure out your deeper, truer desires. I have to tell you, for example, when I did my TEDx talk,
Right.
okay, I went through several stages. One is you have to land a talk. That means
Right.
there are a billion people who want to give a talk, and they only take 100, let's just say.
Right.
So I'm like going, my company that I worked with, that prepped me, that helped me craft a talk, that said, this and this you have to watch for. I got all that done. I was easy. I'm used to speaking in front of thousands of people. That's not a problem. Memorizing a talk was another thing, but that wasn't a problem.
Yeah.
I figured, I don't want to write minimally 90 applications. I said, God, I am very busy. 90 applications? I don't have the time for that. Could we just agree on 5? That should be enough, right? I barely had sent out 5 applications. I got the acceptance. You have to make a little miniature video. You have to send it out. And they said, yeah, come on in. You're perfect for what we need. I came, it's in England, south of London. When I gave the talk, it was just, in my talk, I was talking about, my intro talk is like the walk along Kealakekua Bay. I look out the window and the same kind of bay is right there as I'm giving the talk. I'm like going, wow, if I didn't know better, the universe does listen really well, right? So I got a perfect talk. Everything went well. And I imagined, what I really want. Yes, 200,000 people at least. Actually, I would be quite happy if 5,000 people liked my video. But I want 200,000. And then, I'm not kidding you, I listened to the other parts of myself that said, Ilona, do you know? You've been a bestseller. You know how many thousands of books you've sold, tens of thousands. And do you know how much work it means if just that many people listen to you? I'm like going, I actually, come to think of it, I'm quite happy with my life. I do want 200,000 people. I don't know that I really do. I do. So we have maybe 2 different goals, One says this, the other one says that. And God gives you, or the universe gives you, what is really right for your heart. So I'm in the process. I just about, just a bit under 5,000 views. And a lot of the, but the trick is, but then TEDx came along and said, no, girl, you talked about talking to angels and them manifesting in front of you. You can't do that. That doesn't happen in our universe. That's unscientific. And no, we won't tell the world about that. They censor information. Oh, they censor a lot of information. They censored Joe Dispenza. You can't find Joe Dispenza's TEDx talk. He did give a
I
talk in
didn't know he had
2012.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, in 2012, and you can find the copy of it, made it out, but it was censored because he's too scientific? That's pseudoscience. I don't know. He is so scientific. Anyhow, the powers that be would like us to stay under a certain lid, and I'm here to tell you, take that lid off. Go with me. I cook with water, and every word I've written is true. And if I can do it, you can do it. We can all practice and learn. And in giving you my example, TEDx, in a way, made a deal with me and said, well, girl, if you don't want 200,000, which is what you would probably get if we let you go public, we'll unlist you. So the only way you find me is I give you the link. So I'll put that on that.
Yeah, we'll put it
page.
in the comments. Yeah.
No, I put it on that page. Then you can watch it and you can get the concept of the 2 questions. Yep. Okay. So the universe is listening. So I got an unlisted, and then the miracle happened. Other people who get unlisted get like, their brother and their friends to watch it. And even people on TEDx get like on average 250 views.
Right.
There are a few who make 1 million after a couple of years, it's been out since February. They published it in November, didn't tell me. They said like, oh girl, we don't need to tell you. They gave me the link in February. So it's been a half a year and I got just about my 5,000 views. See, the universe does listen really carefully. And there is a part of me that says, I want to be doing my job. I could be retired. I could have retired a long time ago, but I like contributing. Just make it so my nervous system is happy and I'm happy. And my husband and I have time to go out and be in the sunlight and go hiking and meditate together, because what is more important than to have the love in our life that we dream of and take care of our connection to the higher source? So here I'm going to leave you. It's just been under an hour. I would love, love, love if you inquire. I will leave you the link on the TEDx talk. You can watch it. Click on that link. It'll give you the 2 questions and bring it home. It gives you more examples as to what you can do right away. So make sure you click on that link below. And then we also will offer you, if early bird for all the people who want to dive deeper, we'll offer an early bird special offer of $200 off. The course, 6 weeks long, with us both powerhouses here co-teaching, 6 weeks. We'll give it, instead of for $998, for $798, $200 off. A 5-week online course and a 6-week accompaniment live every Sunday at 5 p.m. EST, starting the 27th of October.
Right.
I wait for you there. And if you want to become a teacher, get in touch with us. We will let you know how you can do that with us.
Right.
Thank you very, very much, Karen. I am so grateful. I talked with you and I'm like going, this is a powerhouse woman. Oh my God. I thought I was going to help this person. And now she said 3 sentences and I'm like, this woman has power.
Well,
Dr.
thank
K.
you. Thank you. I love you saying that. And, I do want to, again, tell you, come to the 6-week course. And with that $200 off, my goodness, that is so inexpensive. And you can come to the course. You can learn all kinds of things. Ilona and I are going to be live with you and take you through this, in addition to you having the information to go on your own and do the stuff through the week on your own. But I have to say, I am so thankful to have you as part of my life. And I'm thankful that you are allowing me to be part of your life. And that is something that I think all of us need to recognize, is that if we open it up to the universe, we will attract people like you. And the other thing I want to leave everyone with is, a lot of people say, oh, but I'm not a coach, I'm not a mentor. The fact is, every one of us are a mentor, if we realize it or not. A minimum of 6 people, and that's usually people a minimum of 6 people, and sometimes it's 6 billion, 6,000, 600, but minimum of 6 people are watching you at this very moment saying, I want to be just like them. So if that's the case, you want to be the best you can be. And this course is going to take you through that and allow you to be the best you that you can be, and find that joy and happiness where you wake up every morning feeling fulfilled and feeling that complete joy and happiness that you are achieving the things that you desire, honestly desire, and that the universe is open to giving you everything and anything that you want. But we have to go out and ask for it.
Yes, and we have to take time to ask ourselves, what do I really want? And then dive deep, go into taking out the blockages, recreating a self-image, because that determines our success. Our self-image and our self-belief, who we are, determines the reality we live in. And then In the fourth week, we go into discovering the values and principles that guide our choices. Right. If you align them, you have unstoppable wishes. And in the fifth week, we work with integrating it into your existing spiritual belief and or learning how to let go, because the power of letting go and letting God, I would say, is one of the most fundamental lessons of co-creating. We're not here to have a willful, I want this, I want that, I create this. We are here to co-create with the higher dimensions and become higher dimensional beings ourselves. Powerful beings to create heaven on earth. And has it ever been more important than now? In times of crisis, like we have it right now, we need to calm our nervous systems by focusing, by having a goal. If we're like going, what is it? Our energy spins and nothing happens. We need to direct the energy and streamline it. And then suddenly the solutions come out of the woodworks and find us. So let's go together. We're open to 12 people approximately that we will let in. There might be a few more that have already done the course before that join us, where we coach alongside with the online course and go together through it. Because, if you're like me, I do well when there are some others saying, they're doing the homework, I better do mine too. All right.
Yes. Oh, you guys, hasn't this been a fabulous show? Ilona, you are amazing, and I love you. And folks, I just want to remind you, Power Surge is every Wednesday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. And be sure and come back and watch this one over and over and over again on YouTube, because Ilona is amazing. And to get to YouTube, if you're not looking at this the first time on YouTube, just go to at Karen Perkins, or excuse me, at drkarenperkins.com, and that, or not .com. Well, it's been one of those.
Yeah.
There it goes.
Dr. Karen Perkins.
Yep, at
Dr.
Karen
YouTube.
Perkins. I told you I rely on Jace. I love him. So go to at Dr. Karen Perkins, and to get Ilona's teachings, go to at Ilona Selke, and you can follow her and go through all of the wonderful things that she's been teaching and is on YouTube as well. That being said, Ilona, again, thank you. Mwah. And the rest of you, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Blessings to everybody.
Yep.
Yes.
Ciao for now.